second and talk about Marigold with their stem cell research has been amazing. I went and did an evaluation, and I ended up getting a shot. And I'm hoping right now I'm going to be back on the court. These guys were brilliant. They communicate well. They give you an education on what it's like. And that is what really, to me, won me over, because not only were they going to give me an operation, a procedure, but they were going to educate me about this procedure. And in learning and being comfortable, that is how you get well, and that's how you become partners. And my big shout out to those guys. They did a fantastic job. Check them out at marigoldmedical.com. That's the place to be. You know, guys, I got one of my favorite, I always say I got one of my favorite guys or favorite dudes or women. This is one of my favorites right here. And Derek Sullinger, because, let me tell you why. Former Celtic, let me tell you why he was one of my favorites. Because he was just like me. He was arrogant. He was cocky. He came in knowing it all, and he was a bitch around that hole. How you doing, young man?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing just fine, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been doing, and your weight loss. First of all, how much are you down weight-wise?
I'm down to 260 right now. I'm down to 260. And I'm just, honestly just being a dad, man. Just learning how to be an athlete and a dad at the same time, and just waiting for a shot, waiting for a phone call to play some basketball here soon.
Man, that's incredible when you think about it in that way of who you are and what you've been doing over the years, and just what changed about you. As you said, it's your family life. I understand that, but what changed and clicked into your mind when you left the league? First of all, tell me about this game you had over in China. I heard about this. What was it? 54 and 35? Something crazy. I'm like, I was like, damn, you are tossing, bro. Tell me about that game.
That game was pretty crazy, just because over there in China, there's always rivalry. So we was playing against a rival team. And the owner of the team came in and was like, we really need to win this game. And when they say that overseas and you lose, you could possibly get cut. There ain't no guaranteed contracts. So obviously I went out there and did everything I could. I had 44, 33, and 8 assists with 5 blocks and 4 steals or something like that. So obviously I was just playing off of pure scared. I just didn't want to get cut. And that's where that game came from.
Tell me a little bit about China. I mean, because I know absolutely nothing. You country boy, you coming from Ohio. Now all of a sudden you're in China. How was that?
It was different. It was different just because you see the culture of the people. They just constantly went the Chinese way. It wasn't really Americanized over there in certain areas. So what they call us are Westerns. We're Westerns. So it was just different, man. The language barrier, you got to teach through pointing and seeing, and you got to try to learn their language. Just because when you're out there on the court, there's adjustments that you want to make as a player, but you really can't speak to them because there's the language barrier with most of them. And so you just kind of learn how to. I think that's where I learned how to be a coach, because I had to figure out attitudes, personalities, how to communicate with people, and I think that's really where I took my IQ to another level.
I heard the guy was telling me, and there was somebody who had gone to China to play, and they said the biggest adjustment they had, and I think it might have been Lester Connor. He was over there coaching. He said one of the biggest adjustments was trying to call room service and tell him what he wanted. He said he's like a burger, and they wouldn't. It would come back always as something else.
That's how it is. That's honestly how it is. Because what they think is a burger is not a burger to us. What we think is pizza is not pizza to them. It's just vice versa, and everything that we think that's normal to us is not normal to them. And so I think going out to China, it taught me how to get out of my comfort zone.
Wow. Tell me about the living God over there, Stephon Marbury.
Oh man,
because it's just
it's not even close. It's not even close. He's the God out there, man. You play against Steph. all of a sudden your whole bowl is sold out. You know, you play against another team that's not that good. You barely have fans in there. So everybody knew when Steph was coming into town. Everybody wanted a picture with Steph. You know, Steph was the one that started like the whole culture of, you know, guys that's, you know, NBA guys going to China and playing in China. He kind of started that. So he's the ambassador almost of China basketball.
I heard one of the things that he did over there, he started his own shoe. And it was a cheap shoe, which was a knockoff of a knockoff. And he said, I got 3 billion people. If I just sell to, you know, 10%, then I'm going to make big money. Is that something that he did?
That's definitely something he did. You know, you go out there and you see the hoop courts, you know, you see he has credit cards out there. He has headphones out there. You see all the star on a lot of the logo on a lot of stuff. So Steph really has done major business moves over there. It's more than basketball for him over there. It's all about business. And I think he took his business mind and put it in China with the name. And I think that's what sells most of his stuff. So yes, you see the Starberry logo everywhere.
Well, okay. Tell me a little bit about how you see the NBA now, where it is in your mind from when you played, because I saw it change and then you saw it and now it's changed again. How do you see it changing?
I think it's going back big. I think it's going back big just because of I always say the NBA is like a copycat league. You know, whoever wins the championship, they're going to follow that way. The last championship that was won by 2 bigs was San Antonio. And then all of a sudden here comes the Warriors with their run, and they never played a traditional big. And then now you got after that, you had the Raptors win, and they kind of changed it a little bit just because of, you know, they played big, but they didn't play big. They still had pieces to play small. And then you turn around, you see the Lakers of what they are today, and AD only plays the 4. So now you're going back to 2 traditional bigs, and that's the team to beat. And I just think that, you know, I won't say traditional bigs. I would just say hybrid bigs, to the point where, you know, Anthony Davis at 7 foot, and then you got a guy like Marc Gasol. That's 2 bigs, and you got to be able to have that in the lineup. And I think that the game is just constantly going to change about whoever dominates the league. Whoever dominates the league that's going to be the culture change of the NBA. And I just think right now the 2 big lineups, as you can see, are starting to pop out more.
Take you back to your days with the Celtics. Things you remember, things were really good, things that you look back and say, I wish I could have changed this.
There's a lot of things I wish I could change, just because I'm on the outside looking in. So that's a lot of self-isolation, self-looking in the mirror, and knowing that, you know, there was things that I could have done that could have changed not only me, but my family's lifestyle, honestly. And, you know, I found that out at 28 years old today, as everybody keeps asking me if I'm sick because I'm so skinny due to the pandemic, you know, and it's just, the best thing about being a Celtic is being a Celtic, if that makes any sense. There's nothing better than being a Celtic, just because all the people that stepped in front of you, yourself, Larry Bird, Bill Russell, Bob Cousy, KG, Paul Pierce, like there's so many, Kevin McHale, there's so many great Celtics that kind of fall under that umbrella, to the point where, you know, you have a standard about yourself that you got to hold. And it's an unfair standard, but it's the Celtic standard.
One of those things I look back on, and I constantly, I've told this story probably maybe 12, 13, 14 times on my podcast. I said, Eric Sullinger used to just talk shit to me all the time. And you ain't do this, you ain't do that. You know what I mean? I remember one time you told me, I'm going to talk about you so bad, you're going to want to fight me. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to fight you. But the story that went on was the summer that you left and you came back and you saw me the first day of practice and you're going, I got newfound respect for you. I'm like, why? You said, I talked to Moses Malone. And I asked him, "What about cornbread, motherfucker?" I tell that story. And can you tell me a little bit about that story and why you were on my ass like that? I loved it.
I think because you started it. You was on my ass first, I think. And so ever since then, it was like that love-hate relationship that we always had. And so, as we was going around in the NBA, you seen all the former players, and we always talk about Lonnie Shelton. That was like our go-to conversation, Lonnie Shelton. So like we go around every NBA team and we ask all the former players, what about Lonnie Shelton? So for the first time, when I seen Moses for the first time, I decided to ask about you. And instead of Lonnie Shelton. And he told me, he said, Cornbread was a motherfucker. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, he was the guy that you just did not mess with. Because if you hit the switch, you was in trouble. And that's when I found respect for you, because I was just like, if Moses Malone is saying that, then I'm pretty sure that a lot of more people will say that as well. So I didn't need to go searching for Cornbread anymore. I knew who Cornbread was.
that was one of those stories. Everybody kind of, he said, what? I said, yeah, he was talking about Moses, and Moses said this, and the way you said it was like you were mumbling. I was like, man, I said, but that was my guy. What did you learn from Moses when you played him? Because you had him in a camp and you had John Lucas also during the summer camp. What did you learn from those guys?
John, I think the biggest thing with John, he's so old school to the point where it was just like, I'm at home. My dad's an old school coach. You know how he is. Everything got to be done this way. There's no variations to the work. And I think that's what John Lucas really introduced to me, like going back into that old school grind where, the only thing you can focus on is basketball. And I think that's what John did. And then Moses always used to tell me, just rebound. That's what he did. Just rebound. And he said that will get you on the floor. And sure enough, I think that year I came back, I was out the lineup and we wasn't rebounding well. And one thing I can do, and I can always do, is rebound. So that's what got me back into the lineup. And, I miss Moses all the time. It was tragic how he passed, but the little bits and pieces that he gave me was very powerful.
The thing I really liked about your game was the nasty nature about you. And what I mean about that is you have no friends. And that is one of the things I like. I see guys now, oh, yo, that's my boy. I remember your father saying, he said there was a play that you guys had when he was coaching you, and somebody would do something and he would nod at you and you would nod at him. And that meant somebody's going to get elbowed in the mouth. And I said, this dude was just, the nasty nature of your game to me was what drew me to you, because you didn't have friends.
Mm-mm. Not when you're inside the lines, you're not friends. I'll give you a perfect example. We was playing against the Warriors when we broke their win streak at home. And me and Draymond get to talking. And me and Draymond is like the best of friends. And so we get to talking. And we're going back and forth. And Tony Brothers steps in and is like, hey, do I need to tee you up? And we immediately both did the same thing. No, that's my friend. And then as soon as Tony left, we went right back to chirping again. Yeah. And I just think that's just the nature of basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to try to intentionally hurt you, but if you're trying to take what's mine, then I have to put some force behind that.
I'm going to give you some names and give me a quick burst, just something. KG.
Crazy.
Paul Pierce.
Crazy.
Rondo.
Crazy.
Well, damn. Okay. Give me a little bit about the craziness, because I loved KG, what he brought to the table. But as you said, he did have that one flew over the cuckoo's nest look on his face.
Every time I talk about crazy, everybody thinks like, oh, he did this, he did that. When I say crazy, I mean like his routine, crazy. His basketball mind, crazy. The way he competed, crazy. Like I never seen Paul Pierce miss a shot in practice that he was supposed to make. You know, like that to me, that's crazy. KG, I've told this story on another podcast where I was supposed to get KG out of practice. Doc tells me to go get him. KG's like, nah, bro, get out of here. So I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, you respect your vets, so you run back to the sideline. And Doc, you know, sometimes when you have a veteran team, they kind of coach themselves. So Doc got his head down and he ain't really paying attention to what's going on 5-on-5. And next thing you know, he pops his head up and he goes, didn't I tell you to go get KG? I'm like, yeah, he didn't want to come out. So he interrupted practice, gets KG out of practice. KG starts yelling at Doc, like, you got me fucked up. You got me fucked up. No, you're not going to kick me out of practice for no damn rookie. You got me fucked up. So, you know, he's going crazy. So as Doc gets himself out of the practice, and he talks his shit, get your old ass out the practice, and KG's on the sideline. You remember the old practice facility?
Yeah.
You had the little strip on the side. He was on the sideline mimicking everything I did because I was the one that subbed him out. So instead of him getting his rest, he still was running. And I mean that. And when I say crazy, that's the type of crazy I mean. And that's the reason why he was so good for so long and so respected and so feared, because he was so competitive that it was crazy. It was crazy. And you think about all the great basketball players that ever embraced or ever embraced basketball. They're crazy. All the great, like, you know, you talk about Michael Jordan, crazy. LeBron James, crazy. Like the greats are crazy at some point in their life when it comes to basketball.
Put me in the mind of Rajon Rondo, if you can.
I can't. It's too much. It's too much because the dude is so smart. He is so smart. Sometimes he tricks himself.
Yeah. I always said about Rondo, how do I put that? The dumbest smart person that I know, because he knew so much that, as you said, he would get in his own damn way because he wanted to prove a damn point.
I won't say prove a point, but I will say like he was so smart to the point where I'll never forget this. We was in the game my rookie year, and he took the clipboard from Doc. And this is when I was like, whoa, I was having an NBA moment. I mean, I'm like, what the hell going on? You know what I'm saying? So, of course, Rondo has it. You go here. You go here. You go here. I'm going to come down here. So, Doc, instead of Doc interrupting him, Doc was like, all right, we just going to run whatever Rondo said. And it worked. And that's why I looked at Rondo. I was just like, he's a genius. Like, he's a genius.
Does his genius as a basketball player, does that translate to him being a coach? Or is he just too much as a genius?
I don't think he has the patience for people that don't understand basketball. That was one thing about him. If you didn't understand basketball, he couldn't talk to you. You have to be on some type of intelligent level of basketball for him to like not talk to you, but like for him to embrace you more. You know what I'm saying? Like if he couldn't break down X's and O's with you, you know, he would get frustrated. So he's one of those guys. Like he couldn't coach high school. He definitely couldn't coach college, but I can see him coaching pro just because those guys are somewhat smart enough to understand what he has going on.
Your relationship with Danny Ainge was really a good one. You know, Danny loved you as a player, drafting you. Tell us a little bit about that relationship and you know what it meant to you.
It meant everything, man. Just because they gave me my shot at the NBA. I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of people have regrets, you know, or they have hatred towards a team that let them go. I don't. They gave me a chance. They gave me a chance to play at the highest level. And that's a bond that I would never be willing to burn between me and Danny, just because he gave me a shot. And, you know, things could have gone better on my side. Danny did everything he had to do, and it could have done better on my side as a basketball player. But it takes years to grow sometimes. And now that I'm 28 years old, I get it now. I get it. But now I'm on the outside looking in instead of on the inside looking out. And now it's hard to get there.
Yeah. Your dad says something about you to me, and we were talking. He sent me a tape of you, and I was like, damn, that dude looked good. He said he's grown up. He grew up as a man. He grew up as a father. He talks about your twins, saying that little boy looks just like you and the little girl looks just like your wife. And it's like, he said that helped him tremendously as a person to learn what he needed to do to help his family. And that seems like that's the driving influence right now.
That is, when you got two kids that constantly eat, and you're spending $90 every 2 days at a grocery store just so they can eat. You start looking yourself in the mirror. You start looking yourself in the mirror and asking yourself if you're doing this right. And I think when they was born, I think that's when it clicked. When I realized that I need to be the best me, not for basketball, but for my family. And I think when I put my family in front of basketball, I think everything kind of clicked for me, because basketball was secondary. It's just something I do. But at the end of the day, my full-time job is to be a dad and to make sure that my kids have whatever they need, going through their life.
I'm gonna delve in your mind in 1 second. Hold on. Alexa, turn the alarm off. That alarm was bothering this shit out of me. You're really going off. All right, I'm gonna delve in your mind a little bit, man. Give me your Mount Rushmore of sports, because you're a younger guy. So you got 4 people, girls, got whatever. Doesn't have to be all about basketball. But in your mind, your Mount Rushmore of sports.
Wow. Of sports.
Of sports.
Wow. Oh, wow.
We're building this place in your backyard, and we got these 4 statues, and you're telling us who those 4 people are going to be.
My for sure 3 are Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Tom Brady.
Okay.
My 4th.
There's always the 4th one that is the hard one. Everybody's like,
My 4th, and people gonna call me crazy, but if you look at the facts, I'm not crazy. Is Breanna Stewart.
Wow. Breanna
Stewart has done some things we haven't seen in a long time. Winning multiple championships in college, winning multiple championships in high school, winning multiple championships at the pro level, coming back from torn Achilles to win the championship. We won't quite see a Breanna Stewart in basketball probably ever again, just because, I think she was a 4-time National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I think she won 4 national championships or something like that. I don't know. You can't, that right there, you can't take away from her GOATness.
Man, those are the things that I love about that question. And I asked that question to a couple of people. Mine were a little bit different than yours. I had Muhammad Ali. I had Michael Jordan. I had Tiger Woods. And I went with what I think was the greatest female of ever athletes, Serena Williams, because she was just such a beast when you think about, some of the things she kind of brought to the table. Your line to the NBA, if people right now are hearing you talk about yourself and wanting to come back to the NBA, what are you telling people right now about you?
I rebound. I rebound. I changed. Mentally, I changed. Physically, I changed. I actually look apart. I think that's the biggest thing, is just looking apart with the NBA. When I was with the Celtics, I didn't look apart. I played well, but I didn't look apart. And I think that's what people are starting to look for. But I just need a shot. I just want a shot. If I get a shot, I promise I won't let you down. It's just so hard just because it's a COVID year, and it's totally understandable. A lot of pieces that you can't add because you got to do this quarantine for this long and you got to do this many testing. So I get why everybody's so slow with pulling the trigger and just moving the way they've been moving. But I just want one shot. I just want one shot. And if I just get one shot, I'm gonna seize the moment.
Your analysis or how you felt when you heard the news about Kobe Bryant passing. Where were you?
I was at home with my kids, and I just remember I read a tweet and it didn't have a blue check, so I was like, yeah, whatever. You know, it's like, it's Kobe. Like, whatever.
A god doesn't die, right?
Yeah, it was legends never die. And so I'm just like, you know, if he was in a helicopter accident, he probably jumped out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just, you know, I was so oblivious to, you know, him being a human just because he's been so unhuman for so many years. And I just remember I was at home and I seen that tweet, and then next thing you know, here come TMZ with a tweet. So you kind of got to listen to it, and then next thing you know, multiple other players start tweeting, and it hit like a ton of bricks just because you see a guy you grew up watching. I got to play against him.
Yeah.
You know, he was like a hero. You know, the reason why we did some of the people that do fadeaways today is not because of Mike, it's because of Kobe. And even though Mike's the originator, you know, Kobe's the master. So that's what everybody thinks, you know. And you know, we miss him. Everybody misses him. It's just, it was a tough blow on the basketball community because of everything he was going to do for women's basketball. Women's basketball was about to blow up bigger than ever with Kobe because he was just pouring his blood, sweat, and tears into it. And he was looking for a bigger and better generation. And
yeah, one of the things you bring that together because and it was just like me, because you're a father and his daughter died with him, it even hit me more so thinking about, yeah, Kobe passed, but just his daughter, because as a father, all you're trying to do is protect your child. So that's how it resonated even more so to me.
Yeah. All those people that was on that plane, it just hurts. It hurts just because it was preventable. I think that's the biggest thing that if it's something that we could not prevent, if it was just like something that came down in the air and something like that's something that you can find answers with. But when it's something that's preventable, you really don't have no answers. You can't find no answers to really solve that question.
Well, dude, you are off the clock now, man. And you know, thank you for coming on with me again. You still one of my faves of all time. You know what you and I be saying right now. But
yeah, I already know.
We won't let the N words go right now. But you know, you're still my boy, and you know, thank you for being on with me. And if there's anything that you know, I pray for right now, is you get another shot and another opportunity, because I think you deserve it. I think this league now is diluted with some of the players, and your skill set fits perfectly with some of the things that teams need in this league now.
Appreciate it. I'm gonna keep working. Whether it's not this year, I'm definitely gonna be here still working next year.
All right, my brother. We'll holler at you. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.
I appreciate you.
All right, later.